PR Connections Radio presents
Since 1978, the National Youth Advocate Program, known as NYAP, has provided vital social services to children, families, and communities in a number of states throughout the nation. NYAP is a private, nonprofit organization committed to caring for people, connecting communities, and promoting peace. Among its many services are foster care programs that provide loving homes for children in need and give everyday people the opportunity to be part of something bigger than themselves.
If you're broken, you are welcome. If you're outside looking in, if you have no place of your own, my door is open. It's always open. My door is open. It's always open.
Man, I tell you what, that video gets me every time. I get goosebumps. Welcome back to the Brisco Bridge of Foster Care in Nevada. It's sponsored by the National Youth Advocate Program. And again, reminders to everybody that watches the show, I am not an expert in this. The laws in foster care system vary by state. So if I say some things, you may need to go to your state and get those questions answered. My goal here is to help navigate and the complexity with the stories rooted in the live experience at heart. Today's guest is Adam J. Brown. He's the founder of Be Well Studio in Las Vegas. Adam was actually raised in foster care and adopted at age 11 in Idaho. He became an entrepreneur by the age of 21, driven by faith and community purpose. Now, as a husband, a father of 3, he leads a wellness business focused on restoration, healing, informed by his own childhood in the system. Adam, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming on the show.
I'm doing fantastic, Trent, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm excited to talk about a few different things. I made sure to comb my hair today so I look good, and I'm ready to get this going. I'm excited.
Yeah, I appreciate it. God has his hands on everything, and I'm going to tell you, you reached out to me about something else, and I just was like, what are you reaching out for? And it was about business stuff, and it just so happens that I do business. It's called Knights of the Round Table. We do. It's put on by NYAP, and I bring businesses together so that we can help each other, inform each other, and it takes a village. Not just with children. It takes a village with each other here in town. And you reached out to me and did not even know that I had anything to do with foster care. Is that correct?
That's correct. I had no idea.
Yeah, and then I thought, hey, man, and then you told me, hey, I was a foster kid, and I was like, no way. This is awesome, dude. You want to be on my show? Let's talk about it. So let's dive in, man. So what age were you when you went into foster care?
So I've got a pretty unique story, and that's why I wanted to get on here. I just wanted to kind of share my experiences growing up, and if it can help somebody, awesome. I think there's so many amazing opportunities, and I was I'll just use the word blessed with some amazing people that were able to take me in and adopt me. But right from the beginning, I was raised in a broken home, if you will. It was a mother with no father. I've never met my father in my life. In fact, I'm confident that he's passed away at this point, but I've never actually met him. I spoke to him one time later in life, and he was asking for money. I don't know how he got my phone number or anything like that, but that's all he cared about, and that was our 30-second relationship. But grew up with mom for the most part as a child. A lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol, as you that's that common scenario, right?
Yeah.
And was just constantly being woken up in the middle of the night, being pulled out of our home. And I grew up with 3 other siblings, so it was me, one of my brothers, 2 other brothers, and my sister. So there was 4 of us together. And typically we would get pulled out whether it was in the middle of the week or a weekend or in the middle of the night or whatever it might have been. And we'd go to a foster home and we would just stay there temporarily. And this happened enough where we always knew that we probably weren't going to be there for very long and we'd end up back with mom. And, throughout my childhood, it tended to happen more than you would expect. Sometimes we'd spend 2 or 3 nights in a foster home. Sometimes we'd spend a couple of weeks in a foster home. But it ultimately always ended with us going back with mom somewhere or another. I don't know how we would end up back there, but it typically happened. And I just remember times where I'd show up to a house and there would be tons of kids running all over the place. Sometimes it was organized, sometimes it wasn't. It was tough. You knew you were only going to be there for a little bit and you really didn't care to make any relationships or anything. You're just happy you've got a bed and some food in your stomach. And my biggest thing, I was the oldest of the 4. So I always wanted to make sure I kind of overlooked my siblings, made sure that they were always taken care of. And
how old were you at that time, Adam?
I mean, I remember as early as 4 years old where I was kind of going back and forth. I also had an aunt, so my mother's sister, that we would occasionally stay with. There was a lot of issues there as well. So that was only temporarily and every so often. But most of the time we were in different foster care homes. And we would be bouncing around quite often, whether we were going to a different school or whatever the scenario might have been. But it always typically stayed in the state of Idaho.
Gotcha. So one of the things that comes to mind for me, and I think the viewers might need to hear something about this, is how did you feel? Like, really, man, like to constantly go back. I mean, after a while, you probably got used to it in a sense where you were just like you had no feeling. Or tell me, how does that make you feel to constantly go back into that? Or also being around these foster homes, these adults, like this is a 2-end question. Did some of those adults actually make an impact on you, or did some of them, were there positive and negative feedback from them and stuff?
It's great questions. And I don't really feel that there was ever really a strong impact. I always felt like I was kind of a burden, if you will. That's really, in all honesty, I felt like we were all a burden and we were just being put on somebody for a temporary basis. Never really felt like I belonged in a specific spot, but just that I was juggling around. And like I said prior, like a bed and food was my biggest takeaway. I never really went into a foster home where I feel like I was unsafe, or, never really was in that scenario where there was drugs or alcohol or anything like that. So it was comforting knowing that I wasn't around that. I probably spent more time with my mother than I did with foster homes because we were always bouncing back and forth. But, living in a home where there's constant men going back and forth that are never staying, and they're not somebody that's going to give you guidance. I remember stories where, my mother's getting beaten up and we're watching everything, and there's literally nothing that you can do. And he would leave. And then the next morning we'd be pulled out of the house. We're supposed to go to school and we're pulled out and we're staying with somebody else for a couple of days. And so there's just a lot of ups and downs when it came to that. And it was just always unsettling. You don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a hell of a roller coaster that you were riding. So when was it that you finally, did you ever have to stay in foster care long-term, or did you just get lucky to go straight into being adopted?
I was, again, it was all 4 of us. And, the longest I was in foster care in one specific family was probably a month and a half tops, 2 months. And then I'd get pulled out and go back to my mom. And there was another scenario. I was 9 years old, and I remember all 4 of us together, and they said, "Hey, jump in this 15 passenger van. We're taking you to another house." Okay, fine. Here we go again. So we pull up to this house, and I remember the house. It was just off the freeway in Rigby, Idaho. And we get out, and it's, from me looking back at a 9-year-old, I thought this was like a mansion. It was this large log home, and I was so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, this isn't the typical house that I see. Wow, this is amazing. So we get out of the van. the caseworker kind of introduces me to the Browns, if you will, Rex and Diane. I'll just mention their names. And I remember walking in, there was still quite a few kids, but the one thing I remember is I walk in, everything was super clean. And I was so excited. I couldn't believe everything was clean. The carpet was vacuumed. I can see it right now. Everything was just spotless. And I was like, wow, this is just awesome. And the dining room table was a picnic table, and it fit 20 people. Wow. It was a long, long picnic table. And I'll never forget that table. I was like, can they really fit that many people at one table and everybody's going to eat together?
That's awesome.
And a couple of rules that I was told as soon as we walk in, we always have family prayer at every single meal. We always say a prayer at the end of the night before we go to bed, and everybody's going to eat together.
Nice.
And I said, wow, this is going to be incredible. And so we were only supposed to stay there for 2 weeks. They told us you're only going to be here for a couple of weeks. So, make it like it's your own. And they showed us where our room was going to be, and here's my bed. And I'm feeling the excitement now because I was so excited to have my own space. And this home was huge. There was a large basement downstairs, and there was several rooms upstairs. And again, everything was just spotless and clean and organized. And I remember just being so excited and tell my brothers and sisters, hey, you guys, we're only going to be here for a couple of weeks, but this is great. Everybody is so nice. There's kids everywhere. This is going to be an awesome 2 weeks. So the 2 weeks came, and the 3 weeks came, and the month came, and 2 months came. And I said, what's going on here? And one of Rex, my now dad, called me into his room, and he said, hey, I need to talk to you. We didn't have any plans to do any kind of adoptions whatsoever. We've fostered over 100 kids over the years, and we've had a lot of kids come and go in our home. They have 5 homemade kids. I just like to use that word. They're homemade. Yeah. And they have 8 adopted children, wow. all from different families. So there's a total of 13 of us total, plus my mom and dad. So we needed that big, huge picnic table, right? And he said, I have a really, really strong feeling that I need to keep you around, Adam. And I said, okay. I just felt this massive emotion come over me. And he said, unfortunately, I can't keep all 4 of you. It's just not going to happen. But I definitely we're able to keep 2 of you. And as you're the oldest, you need to choose who's going to stay and who's going to go. And I said, okay, this is a decision I'm going to have to make. What's going to happen to the other 2? They're going to go back into the foster home. We're going to do our very best to try and find a family for them as well. There's no guarantees in this, but they're younger, and they're going to have a really good opportunity to have a family that will take them as well. So he said, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to think about it. And at this point I was 9 or 10, maybe. It's a big decision to put on a kid, yeah. But over the years, I'd already been given so many opportunities to take care of my siblings, and I've been given responsibilities that I shouldn't have had at that age. And so ultimately I decided that I was going to choose the youngest brother. At that point, he's probably 6 or 7 years younger than me. And so me and my brother, we got to stay, and my other brother and sister, they went to a completely different family. And there was kind of meetups for a while at parks and different things for us to kind of stay in communication. But as time went on, we kind of lost our communication between each other. And unfortunately, they went to a home that was not ideal for them. Some stuff happened, and some really sad things happened. And I asked myself so many times throughout my life, why was I given this opportunity to have so much and to be given so much? And it was this loving couple that decided to take a massive chance on me. And as I've said, they've had over 100 foster children in their home over time. And and they saw a lot of things. They saw a lot of children that were abused in a lot of different ways, and some of them maybe not fixable, if you will.
Yeah.
And they saw something in me that I don't know what they saw, because at that time I had the mentality of survival. I'm only going to be here for a short amount of time. I need to do everything I can to survive, whether I steal money from you, or I cheat, or I lie, or I get in fights at school, or whatever it's going to take to be in survival mode. I need to take care of myself and my family. And they were able to change that over a course of many years. And I am what I am today. And I give I give them full credit, because if that adoption had not happened, I'd be in a lot different scenario right now.
Yeah, brother. Wow. Now, let me ask you, man, it's been on my mind since you said it. What was the reason that they couldn't keep your siblings? Is it because they didn't have enough space?
A lot of people think that, the state is going to fund you with all this money and you're just going to be taken care of. My dad is retired military. My mom took after all the kids and didn't have an income coming in. I don't know if they've ever really shared it with me, but they were at their max. They wanted to stop before I came. They simply got a call from a caseworker. The caseworker knew my parents very well and said, "Look, we've got these 4 kids that only need a couple of weeks. Can you find a bed for them?" And that's what was presented to them. And the kind of people that they are, they would never say no. And so they took them in, all of us, all 4 of us. We were only supposed to stay for a couple of weeks. Even the caseworker told us, "You're only going to be here for a short amount of time and you're going to go back with your mom." So we all knew we were leaving. My dad and mom saw something that nobody else saw. And it was there that they decided to make a huge choice. My dad was probably in his early 40s at that time. My mom probably around the same. They already had a lot of kids. And for them to take on even 2 more would have been a lot of work, in my opinion. And that's what they could do at that time.
Well, I have to say, man, and this is something that I think about all the kids. I had 42 boys come through my house in 7 years, and to watch them grow and I sat down with a lot of them. We circle time and we talk, and they were tough kids, but I made them not tough. I made them know that, yeah, you're tough, but hey, it's time to bring it down. We all cry. It's okay to cry. And I got all my kids to have meetings about their lives. And I explained to them, like, look, at this point forward, what happens to you is on you. You can't blame any of what's happening. Yeah, it sucks what you went through. It sucks that you, at the age of 9, had to make that choice. It sucks that you had to be the man at that age. But if you look at life and you look at where you are today, why do you think you're so able to be who you are today? Because you were a little man back then, dude. You were probably, made to make business and business with love. Tell me now, today, let's talk about your business. What do you do for your business, and what helps you do your business that made you the way you were from when you were a kid? What did you go through that you believe helps you be better with where you are today?
I've always been very competitive in anything I've ever done. If I'm not number one, I'm nothing. And a lot of people might not agree with that, but it's always been in my nature. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it to the max. I'm going to be the best that there can be. And that's always been my mentality. My mom, my mom now, she saw something in me and she said, "Adam, you need to start wrestling. That's going to be your go-to. You have an anger problem where you want to fight and you need to channel that some way. And wrestling is going to be your best bet." "I don't want to wrestle. It's too much work. That's not interesting me." "Well, just go to a practice." So freshman year, I started wrestling in high school. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. Yeah. I remember hating my coach. I'm like, dude, this guy is ripping me to pieces and he's sitting over there just laughing, telling me to run laps. My first year in wrestling, I didn't have a lot of moves, but I outstrengthed everybody, and I was able to go to state in Idaho, which is a pretty difficult thing. Nice. Yeah. Didn't place, but I went to state. That built my confidence so big, and I from there forward, I went with momentum going into my next year. wrestled, went to state again, different weight bracket. Junior year, went to wrestling, went to state, won state in my weight bracket. Very, very difficult. My junior year, I won state.
Awesome.
Senior year, I went back, won state again, went undefeated. Nobody could beat me. Went to nationals, went really far. Wrestling kind of like with a pattern of my parents and wrestling, combining it. And I can't leave out my faith. The church was so good to me as far as like helping me to mold the person that I was, making the best decisions possible. Sure, I made mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. I had that mentality that I got to try everything once. I'm not going to learn from somebody else. I want to experience it. So made a lot of mistakes, but I was in the scouting program. I got my Eagle Scout. All these different things that kind of led up to where it was. And ultimately, after high school and my success with wrestling, I decided I was going to serve a mission for my church. Went to South Africa for 2 years. Over there, you don't have any leadership guidance. You're on your own. I had to pay for it my own. So I saved up money for a couple of years to be able to go on this mission and preach to others in a foreign country. And that was an experience on its own where it built the courage and the sales experience that I needed and everything that I needed to kind of get out there. And then from there, I came back and I immediately started opening up businesses. School wasn't for me. And it's good for a lot of people, but I struggled in school. My focus with that was difficult, but I knew that I could start a business. So I immediately started doing different businesses, from kiosk businesses into the malls to retail locations to different things. Eventually opened up multiple insurance offices, which I've done extremely well with. And now I'm so happy to be co-owner of this Be Well Studio. I have an amazing business partner that I share this with, and his intellect and what he comes up with is absolutely incredible. And so I give a lot of credit to him on us building this together, but it's been outstanding. And now I have a business where I can share it with other people. It's a part of healing. It's a recovery. It's different things that I've been doing for years, but it's something that I can share with the community, and I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah, we'll dive into your business in a second, but one of the things I wanted to bring up is you became an athlete, in wrestling and all that. And one of the things that I used to coach football, basketball, baseball. I'm a big athlete guy myself. I love coaching kids. I had all these teenage boys sent to me that were athletes. I mean, I probably could have put together a basketball team at one point and gone far. Definitely had some football players. You name it, I had it, right? In the 42 kids that came through my house, only one of them could last in a whole season. They could not handle being yelled at by the coach. They quit, ran away. I didn't have a lot of support from the adults on the team. They said, well, if he doesn't want to play, he doesn't have to play. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're not winning here. And then on the flip side, I realized that none of them graduate high school. It's like, I think it's like 3% of the kids graduate high school. So I started taking them to vocational training schools, made them see that they can do other things in life. They don't have to go to school. And I didn't think I was going to ever do that. I didn't think that way, but now I do because of the experience that I had with them. I did open some eyes, and I did have some kids that changed and did some different things. So it's good. But so the fact that you were able to get through it is awesome. And congratulations on state. That's freaking awesome. I love it. I love it. I want more people to hear about this because kids from foster care, like you said, you didn't want to make friends. You just wanted to focus. You didn't care. And then all of a sudden you're on a sports team. Someone's yelling at me. I don't want nothing. The fact that you just want to be number one, I'm going to touch base on that. Anybody that condones that, they're always number two. That's their problem. I'm not one to say I have to be number one, but I'm very competitive for a reason. I want to be the best. I'm very hard on myself. And I think we all should be. And who cares what you think of me? Now, if I come to you crying about my life, then you can give me your opinion on maybe I should stop being so hard on myself. But I'm not. So you don't tell me that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I commend you for it, man. It's so awesome that you've come such a long way, but I believe that where you came from is why you are who you are today. We know that, and it makes you a stronger person. But let me ask you, one of the things that I feel all my kids have a problem with is emotion. I'm not saying that you're not emotional. They're emotional, but they have a hard time of, they tend to be very cut off. It's kind of like when you go to a new foster home at age 8, you're like, I'm not making any friends because I know they're not going to be here tomorrow. Do you still feel maybe in your adult life that there's moments where you don't open up to people, that you just still keep them at a distance and it's subconscious?
Absolutely. I mean, if I could put my wife on here right now, she would let you know, that's been one thing that she's always brought up. Why don't you cry, Adam? Why don't you show any kind of emotion? And it's just me. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. Sure, I feel feelings. I have feelings, and I feel, really bad for people. I have a huge heart. You asked me to go help you move. I'm there tomorrow. You need something. Right. I'm there tomorrow. Like, I will do anything to help anybody in need, because I've been there before. I know what it's like. I want to help everyone. But when it comes to like showing emotions, she's made a joke like, when I pass away, are you even going to cry at my funeral? I don't know, and there's something about the way that I grew up, and you don't cry. You deal with pain. You deal with the hard time.
Well, you're the oldest of the 4 kids. So you have to Correct. Be the one to be stronger.
Correct.
It makes sense. But I don't know, Adam. I think you almost got there today.
I almost did, and that's been a long time. So when my wife sees this podcast, she's going to ask what's going on, because I got pretty close. But when I talk about my parents, I can't help to get a little bit emotional, because they're just some of the most amazing people in the world, and there's so many people out there like that. Like, they don't care about fancy cars. They don't care about a big old massive house. When I was telling you that the house is big, it's because it was the eyes of a 9-year-old. But now that I go back, sure. It was a very modest home. It was old, but from what I saw, it was way different, and they don't care about those worldly things. They cared about somebody that they saw had potential, and they're willing to take the time, energy, and make something out of somebody. And if
Right.
somebody can do that, that's absolutely incredible.
So to all the viewers and the listeners out there, if there's anything you want to take from this, take that a child going into your home, if they see that you take care of your home and you're clean and you have a whole table for family, and you're obviously doing this for the right reasons, and you're consistently doing it, you're going to get a son or daughter for life. They're going to love you more than your own children, because they appreciate you more because of what they've gone through in their entire life and what they've seen in all these foster homes. Nobody special. I don't care about nobody. And then to come to this home and get embraced and to get taken care of, and when they didn't have to do anything for Adam, and they did. And now look what Adam has done for himself. He's done that not just for him. He's done it alone. Obviously, he's had to fight all the demons in his life and move forward. But guidance from them obviously got him where he is today. So I commend that. So Adam, I know we're coming to the end, but I do want to hear more about your studio. So if you could talk more about that, I'd love it.
Yeah, I'll go real quick. We're located on Craig and the 95 freeway in Las Vegas, Nevada, 7083 West Craig Road. We've got 15 different facilities under one single roof. Biohacking and the wellness industry has just exploded since COVID. And I traveled across the country trying to find the best possible wellness and recovery modalities that I could possibly put under one building. And I chose the top 15 that I knew would be absolutely perfect for everybody. It's a membership-based model where you come and you sign up for a membership, and you get to come as often as you need to. From red light, we've got saunas, beautiful custom saunas, cold tubs, hot tubs, IV room, compression therapy, all of these different things all into one facility. And you come and you take care of yourself. You deserve time for yourself. If you can't take care of your own health, you've got nothing. If you're laying in a hospital bed, how do you help anybody? So your health is the number one priority. It's even more important than money or anything. I'd say faith and God and your health are the 3 most important things. You can't even take care of your family if you don't have your health, right? So that has to be your number one priority. And we've built, Nelson Tressler and myself, Adam Brown, have built this business to help others in the community help themselves.
Nice. Yeah, I looked at your website and I was like, gosh, this place might be my new spot because, I had a gym membership for years and years. And then I discovered how to work out without the gym. And then I discovered how to eat so that I can lose weight without the gym. So then I was like, you know what? The only thing I'm missing is the sauna and hot tub. And I'm like, I got to find a place where or just buy my own sauna and hot tub maybe. But I'm going to have to come check it out. I appreciate you for being on. I loved your story. I'm sure that a lot of people are going to hear that story and it will resonate. And maybe it will make somebody want to step up and be Rex. And what's the mom's name?
Rex and Diane.
I want someone out there to become the next Rex and Diane. Come out with me at NIAP. I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. I want to be number one in the nation. Not nation. I'm just saying that because Adam's number one. So anyway, Adam, thank you for showing how your personal healing can fuel your community transformation. And thank you for the National Youth Advocate Program for powering these conversations. If today's episode inspires you, or if you want ways to support foster youth and families in your area, I'd love to connect. My number is right here on the screen. Call me anytime. This is the Brisco Bridge to foster care in Nevada. Thank you for listening and caring. And Adam, thank you so much, man. And then we'll be in touch soon. Okay, brother?
Thank you, Trent. Appreciate you so much.
Yeah. Rock on.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.